I'm Stacey Dombrowski. Welcome to My Matters, a show where we can answer all your questions about mind, body, and soul. Tonight's show is about how to overcome some subconscious beliefs that sabotage your life. We will discuss how fear and self-criticism get in the way of your success and explain how you can rewire your negative thoughts and heal traumas from the past. Joining me tonight is Tanya Shinova and Joanna Andros. They are the co-founders of empowerment company Courageous Living. Both of them are renowned international speakers and best-selling authors of the groundbreaking book, Undermined. We are giving away copies of their book, so call into the show with your questions or comments and you can have your name entered into the draw for a copy of the book. Welcome to My Matters.
Thanks, Stacey.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you today as a guest on the show.
We're thrilled to be here.
Thank you. So tell me, how did you create this fantastic book, Undermined? How did you guys come together to create it?
Well, Joanna and I met, 7 years ago now that we created Courageous Living together because we both have a powerful mission to really empower people and give them all of the tools and resources required to live their dreams. And along the journey, some of our programs that we offered, such as the Mentor Circle, we realized that as people were setting their goals, they were really being held back by self-sabotage. And 10 years ago, Joanna actually started working with PNRT, the therapy that we'll be talking about a little bit later on. And so in working with this therapy in combination with helping people understand that their negative beliefs are really what are sabotaging them and bringing this therapy to the forefront, sort of married it together to create this book.
So, sorry, do you have something to add to that?
I was just going to say that, and plus even our own journey, working on our own inner chatter and realizing how important it was as we're in this industry of self-growth and self-development and working and going to so many different courses and things. Inevitably, it always came down to that negative inner chatter or the core beliefs that we had that were fueling basically all of our actions. And we knew that we had to start working on those ourselves. And then as Tanya was mentioning, when we were working with our company and with so many different people, and whether it's coaching, when we're working with people, inevitably it is always that right at the bottom, the subconscious mind, always with those core beliefs that seem to be sabotaging everyone. So we knew this was a real passionate subject, and we knew that something needed to be written about this that was different. Something that would really address that issue and really bring it to the forefront, as well as the fact that it really can change.
So did you start as friends, that you guys came together and said, like, we have to create this book because there isn't something on the market like this?
You know what, actually 7 years ago, Joanna actually had a copy of The Secret before it was even released out to anyone at all. She got a copy of it before it even hit the stores. And she was really generous and opened up her home to what was called Secret Sundays at the time. So perfect strangers would come with their friends and watch The Secret. And Joanna was just getting into coaching at that point and said, what do you want to create in your life? And when I saw this movie, I came to her really at a pivotal time in my life when I was coming out of a very, very significant relationship, one of those game changers. And I thought, okay, I definitely don't want to make the same mistakes or choices that I've made up until now in that area of love. And I wanted to reinvent myself. And so when I saw that, I said to her, what should I do? I need to go on this big journey of self-discovery and reinvention. And so she suggested a ton of different courses. And after a year, we got back together and said, you know what, we need to make this information available to everyone. It shouldn't be that they have to travel halfway around the world to get all this information. We need to open up a company and help people along their journey together.
When The Secret first came out, I was blown away like everybody else. I think who watched The Secret is like, how do you get those gifts that The Secret tells you?
Exactly.
And I think what you've created is maybe you can share a little bit more.
Well, yeah, it was just like that one step further. So we all know that it's change how you're speaking and how you're feeling, and you have to feel good, and you need to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want, which is such a powerful message in there. But then the problem was, we're doing that, and lots of people will have all these goals and vision boards and put all these things up, but they're saying, why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? Well, it was one step further that needed to be really brought out and discussed, which is the fact that if your mind is programmed that says, well, you're not worthy, or you don't deserve those things, or you're not good enough, or that's never going to happen for you, or a million of other conversations underneath, that wins out. And that becomes the reality in our life. So it's about how much do you believe it's really going to happen. So it's one thing of asking for it and really wanting it, but how much do you believe deep down that you deserve it or you can have it? And that's really where the power comes.
So in your book, you have 7 subconscious beliefs that sabotage your life and how you can overcome them. So can we talk a little bit about that, and what does that mean, 7 subconscious beliefs that really sabotage your life? Yeah.
Well, we know that there's millions of conversations that we have in our head, right? We have lots of inner chatter that's going on all the time, and some of that's really good inner chatter, and we need that as human beings to have that dialogue to say, should I wear this outfit? Should I not? Oh, I like her hair over there. I like his outfit, or I'd like to do what he's doing. That's a normal conversation that we need to have. But then it becomes the limiting conversations or the self-abusive dialogue that ends up in our mind. That's the stuff that we wanted to focus on, and really the book, even on the front cover, it even lists out pretty boldly the pretty ugly conversations that we have sometimes in our mind that we never really would want anybody to know. But we know human beings are having this all the time, this inner dialogue. And so in the work that we've done and working with so many people and all of these millions of conversations, inevitably at the bottom and at the core, at the root, at the source, always down at the bottom, were these fundamental 7 conversations that we all have.
Is it possible to get rid of these subconscious beliefs forever and really have a peaceful life?
100%. 100%, but it has to happen at the neuronal level, because what happens is that the brain is actually wired with neuronal patterns, as you know. And so and inside the book we actually also talk about the blueprint of self-sabotage. And if you can get to the core of the blueprint of self-sabotage and really target the defining moment that created that limiting belief that has this conversation, that has shaped our perception, and in the progressive neural resolution therapy that this book introduces, within that therapy, it is absolutely possible to get into that one specific incident and rewire the way that the brain thinks of, or the decision that the brain had made in that time about ourselves, about other people, and the world. And so once that therapy is done, it actually resolves one specific layer of how we think. And then once you get that resolution, that conversation's gone. And with enough of those processes, those layers peel away, and then there's inner peace.
So you have created PNRT, which is Progressive Neural Resolution Therapy. And so I want to talk more about how you came up with this actual PNRT when we come back from break.
Okay.
So when we come back from break, more on the power of the subconscious mind. Hi, welcome back to My Matters. Tonight we're talking about the power of the subconscious mind. Call in with your questions and you could win a free book. So let's talk right about PNRT and the 7 beliefs of sabotaging your subconscious mind. We'll go right into PNRT though.
Okay.
So maybe you can share more on that.
Well, Progressive Neural Resolution Therapy is what PNRT stands for, and it stems from a therapy that Joanna developed just now 10 years ago. And she started working, sort of I guess you can tell them more about how the process started off. But the actual process itself, or the therapy itself, helps to rewire the subconscious mind. And so our goal with this therapy is to really get the subconscious beliefs at their source, Stacey. I mean, so many other therapies also offer subconscious work, and there's, the CBT as well that works, subconsciously, and then there's conscious therapies. Oftentimes when people have a problem, they either have to conquer it with sheer will or do a lot of therapy that takes a long period of time. PNRT is an accelerated form of therapy that helps people rewire their negative limiting beliefs within the first hour and a half. They already experience a profound shift, and everything from phobias, things that are very visible, things like phobias or even allergies or OCDs, or when people have specific issues that are very tangible, immediately they see a huge result. They could literally go into the elevator right after the actual session and have it be resolved. But then there's deeper issues, not being able to trust, not being able to have proper relationships or attract money in their life. And those require a bit more work in terms of the layers, but the effects are profound.
Is this all in the book?
Yep.
Yeah.
undermined?
Yes.
About PNRT.
Yes, it is.
So can you explain a little bit more? Like, that sounds amazing that you can really get to the root of the problem in an hour and a half, but how? Like, how do you do that?
Well, as you said, the book really helps people. It's like real comprehensive, the whole thing, right from the beginning of like how our brain works, how it gets wired originally when we have a trauma in our life. And sometimes it's not even a trauma. Sometimes it's just somebody looked at us the wrong way, or somebody, somebody made fun of us in school when we were a kid, and all of a sudden we thought we're stupid, or we're not smart enough, or nobody likes us, I don't belong. All of these kind of decisions really make a profound effect in our mind.
And we
then
create a
it's different.
story.
Create a story, creates our life, and next thing you know, we start living through that perception. And then it becomes more and more reinforced, though, in our subconscious mind. It becomes a program in our mind where it becomes the way of life and how we see life. So the book really identifies like how this process happens and how we get stuck in that pattern. And it really is a pattern, and then it becomes our whole way of life. And then the inner chatter that we hear is just a way to keep us there. Because the moment we think it's scary over there, that chatter's got to be loud to say, no, don't do that. Oh, you can't be a star. You can't be in the limelight. You've got to be quiet. You've got to be invisible. Don't speak, whatever. You could be in trouble. You could be embarrassed. There's so many different things. So it's trying to keep you in this comfort zone. So the book really explains how this all happens and how it becomes our way of life. But then how it's got case studies as well.
Oh, wow.
That show how this actually works.
This, if I just want to see if I'm on the right path here, this is the subconscious beliefs that sabotage your mind. Am I right?
Your life.
Your life. And that is PNRT in a sense. They kind of go together?
Well, PNRT is a way to overcome those beliefs.
Those 7 beliefs.
Those 7 beliefs, and we really address those beliefs. I mean, of course, anybody can come in with any beliefs, as we say, because they could come in with something that seems so far-fetched. It's not anything to do with what they think maybe is one of those 7 beliefs. They have a complaint that something's happening, like they're procrastinating all the time.
And it's constantly, and it comes out in every single place in their life.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then they're like, why is this happening? I don't know. Like, I really want to do this, but I can't figure it out. That's not difficult when you're working with the subconscious mind. That's what's so fascinating. If we're working with the conscious mind, we have to sit there and say, well, think about it. Why is this not working? And well, let me think.
About the last time that this happened.
Exactly. Or can I figure out a new strategy? Can I figure out a new way to work in my life? And I'm going to promise you, Stacey, that I'm going to do it different tomorrow. I'm going to do this. But again, as Tanya was saying, it's all sheer will. You have to do it just because you're fighting through it.
You have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of the way your life is. So if it's procrastination, it's of you not getting something done. You got to be sick and tired of it, that you want to change. You have to be open-minded to be able to do this, like anything else with a self-help book.
It's true. And when at the root of the procrastination is a variety of different things. So for example, one of the subconscious beliefs is I'm not worthy.
Okay.
Right? And so let's say, for example, somebody's really procrastinating on a project that they know would bring them so much more money. And they know that it would make their life so much easier, but they should even just catch themselves in the act. They're like, I cannot believe I'm not doing what I know I'm supposed to do. And they're just so confused in terms of why am I resisting that aspect of my life? And that's because usually when we have a goal, it's outside of our comfort zone, as Joanna was saying. And so as we start to move towards action steps, the subconscious mind that believes that you're not worthy of this money, you're not worthy of this recognition, you're not worthy of this fame, you're not worthy of an easy life. Literally that inner chatter, and it doesn't even have to be inner chatter, it could actually be a physiological feeling of exhaustion,
tired,
or hunger,
take a nap.
or let's clean the house. Like it's actually, and what people realize in the book, right, is that there's a part of us. And so traditionally, people think that procrastination or self-sabotage is usually one inner critic or one inner voice or our ego or something getting in our way. And what we reveal to people is that because there's different defining moments in parts of our lives, each one of those defining moments creates a part of us that believes we're not worthy or we're not lovable or it's not safe or we can't trust. And then whenever we want to achieve certain goals in our lives as we move forward, it's those parts of us that literally reel us back and create self-sabotage.
So on top of procrastination is on the top, and underneath there's tons of layers.
All the beliefs
that you figure out. There's all these beliefs that you need to figure out, and that's like chipping away at parts of you until you get to true peace and love.
That's right.
To feel absolutely at peace with yourself.
We need to heal it.
And it's an effortless process in this therapy. So, you know, it's pretty,
It's continuous
radical.
work at yourself.
It is, but it's like effortless because the PNRT therapist guides you through a process where you actually tap into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind gives you all the answers. So unlike other therapies where you have to like work on yourself, this one is simply a surrender where you literally come in and allow this process to resolve the inner chatter and the negative beliefs and rewire the mind so that that belief simply doesn't get triggered anymore.
Amazing. I want to hear more when we come back from break. When we come back, more on the power of the subconscious. Hi, welcome back to My Matters. Tonight we're talking about the power of the subconscious. So let's go right back into how this concept works and, you know, the different layers that we were discussing before. So maybe you could share more on that. Is it easy? Is the process easy? Because I know it's not easy to work on yourself.
Well, it's easy in the fact that it's, you know, a client can come in with a problem, as we were talking about before, that they have no idea what it is, or they may come in saying, I'm so, as you mentioned, sick and tired of this. Like, I want something to change. Like, and even just the one we were talking about before, like it's so obvious, somebody having a phobia, like not being able to get into an elevator. Like I had a client a long time ago that had to walk stairs, like so literally walked up 24 flights of stairs to get to my place because she just could not be in elevators or enclosed spaces. And then within an hour of doing this process, when we found out that there was a 4-year-old, her brain would tell us right away that at 4, and she had no idea where this fear had come or where this feeling was. It just seemed to be the truth, that that's what she needed to always get out of and couldn't have a door closed or whatever. But immediately the mind, by asking a specific amount of questions directly to her subconscious mind, not the conscious mind. So the conscious mind is here in the front, you know, the frontal cortex, where it reasons and we think and we wonder and we ponder and we oh, let me just think about it. Let's see if I can remember that. And you go into that thought process. That's not what we want. We want to access the part of your mind which is very fast. It's 1,000,000 times faster than your conscious mind. It answers very quickly. So it's like if I asked you something really personal right now on TV, your brain, believe it or not, would answer inside, but your conscious mind would say, I'm not answering that.
Right.
I'm going to edit that a little bit.
Absolutely, because you know right away what you're thinking,
yes.
But would you actually
you wouldn't say
No.
it. Exactly. But what we start teaching the clients to do is to really listen to that first voice, because that first voice that starts talking is the one that will give you access to all of it. Like, what is down there, deep, ugly, you know, that is chatting in your head? What do you really feel about men? What do you really feel about money? What do you really feel about, you know, being successful or failing? All of that could be there. Or what do you feel about being in an elevator? And then that is an answer right away.
So what about the fear of actually using your voice to even bring this up? Because if I even talk about the fear of men or women or money or having the success, then my life will change, and that's terrifying, because if I do get the television show, or if I do write the book, or if I do have money, what will my life be like? And that's terrifying. Who will I be?
Yes.
So how do you deal with that? Like, that's a whole other part of you that is difficult. So then what?
But you nailed it. It's a part of you. So it is a part that's very scared about being successful or writing the book or doing whatever, and it is fear of success. Yes, what will happen? I'll be responsible, I'll have too much pressure, I won't want to do, I'll be overwhelmed. It could be all sorts of things. But again, it's a part of you that feels scared. So we talk to that part in your mind that is scared. So, you know, I'm just going to use you as an example, okay? So Stacey, obviously you would be coming to me as a client and you'd be thinking, well, I'm not scared because I really want to do it. I really want to do it. It's just, why am I not doing it? So there's a conscious part of you that knows you want to do it, but we want to talk to the part of you that doesn't want to do it. So when we start talking to that part that doesn't want to do it, it starts giving us all the information and all the roadblocks. And then as an adult, then the part of the process at the end is a resolution, which is very different than all the other therapies, is where you go back in as an adult. You literally get to connect with this inner child and you update her, for lack of a better word, and you resolve it. And you get her to know that, you know, you are older. You know, I don't know what your age is, or as in the current moment. You're 20, exactly. As a 20-year-old woman, that's right. You now know better than this 4-year-old or this 8-year-old or this 6-year-old or this 10-year-old that's telling you all the time in your mind, no, 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 it's not safe, it's not safe. You literally tell her the impact it's having on your life and how it's destroying your life, it's destroying your dreams. And that is what is phenomenal. It changes. We're able to in that moment, and sometimes there's resistance, but there's ways that we can get them to change their strategy, and your brain literally creates a new pattern. We create a new neuronal pattern, and you start operating from there.
And I think this is fabulous. Like, I've never heard of this, what you've created, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you guys are brilliant. You really are. Like two fabulous women who have gone out and really done something. You've created a whole new, therapy, and you're teaching it to other psychotherapists, other coaches. But I'm just going to play devil's advocate and say, okay, here you have a person, they're really addicted to a substance, food, and they're really resisting the method. Then what? I mean, really, is it going to work for everybody, or you have to be willing, you have to be open to the therapy?
You got to want it. You got to want to do it and want to change. But most people who come and ask about it really do want to do it. But you are right, Stacey, that at some point, some people can all of a sudden realize, wow, my life is going to change. Like, it is going to be better, and something is going to...
That's scary.
It is scary for people. Now, what's neat about it, though, is that you can still work, again, with that layer of fear, because there's always underneath another layer of fear that's saying, no, no, no. And in the work that we're doing, we find out no matter what, it's always another layer. Because if the conscious mind wants to do it, we got to keep remembering, if we truly want to do something, and then there's this opposing part of us, like the duality of our mind. Here I want to do it, but I can't do it. If you have that conscious tenacity to say, hang on, I want that out of the way. There's something stopping me, and I need to get that out of the way. You can do it. No matter what, we can address any layer that there is, any resistance, the craziest stuff that your body will do, your mind will do, and I mean,
and I believe that. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
But remember too that fear is all programmed in the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is actually programmed to make sure that we survive.
Yes.
So our brain is programmed for survival, and so all those survival strategies are in the subconscious mind. Once we rewire those and update them, because those are no longer the strategies that make us survive and even thrive in our adult life, then things get better. And when we talk about what will happen to me when I change, because there's a profound healing as well during the therapy, when people come back out of it, they realize, you know what, consciously, I actually have a vision for my life. And once they're able to create a vision for their life, then it's easier to move forward into what was previously the unknown.
It's amazing. And, when we come back, I want to talk about defining moments. I know that there's something that you have in the book about defining moments. So when we come back, more on the subconscious mind. Welcome back to My Matters. Tonight we're talking about the power of the subconscious mind. Let's talk about defining moments. Maybe you can share with me your defining moments, and then I can share mine.
Okay. Well, there's many, because that's one of the things you find out in the book. You're like, we get people, because it's a workbook, so people are really encouraged to look at their defining moments and see, when did something happen and you made a decision in your life. So for me, when I was 5 and my father sent us all to England, we were there for about a year. As a 5-year-old, I didn't know what that meant, why we were going there. So of course I made it mean I'm not lovable, and he doesn't love me. So therefore the rest of my life becomes this filter of how I see myself with my father or in the family, and how always having to try and get love, and then always trying to get his love, and then therefore it translated into how I am in relationship, or always trying to get a man's love, and then always running after love. So you see how it just goes through your whole life. So that was one pivotal one.
It really is. And and the fact that you're so open with it shows that you've really worked through it, and you feel comfortable in your own body to share it.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
it just shows that the book really does work.
Yeah, because the first time, before doing this, I'd be
Yeah,
like,
because to be able to share that,
Crying.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like, it just flows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we each had to explore our own, and we even write our story in the book in terms of how it's really affected us, because many of our positive and negative decisions are made from these defining moments. And for myself, when I first came to Canada, I come from Russia anyway, my mother had this fantastic way of disciplining us. And, I grew up with my brother, and she was always very careful about making sure that we excelled and did our best. And instead of comparing us like most parents do, you should be like your brother, etc. My mother said, another girl would have done this faster, or another girl would have made her bed more carefully, or another girl would have gotten a higher mark. So for me, the way that I grew up, and it could have even been like a very short period of time, the way she did that. But to be honest, like in that moment, I made a decision that there was another girl out there that was so much better than I am. And I had to constantly just try so hard to be good enough because there was this other girl. And it's so fascinating because, as Joanna said, that there's like this ripple effect, where anytime I remember getting my first, my first interview for like a job well after I graduated university and things like that. And they interviewed me and I got the job. And I came home thinking, there's probably another girl better at this than I am, but they didn't interview her, so I got it, So it was one of those things where, when I first started dating people, I'd say, gee, I think I should set you up with my friend because there's probably a different girl, not even necessarily better, but a different girl meant for that. So I never felt like I could be comfortable in the way that my life was going. And thank God that I worked through it, because you know what? to live your life thinking that it should be differently is really the essence of pain.
Absolutely.
So that's where the inner peace really comes from.
My defining moment, is I can't do it. And from a really young age, I was always in trouble. I think it was grade 1 and 2. And I was always in the principal's office. And I think the principal and my teachers made me feel that I couldn't do it. And therefore, I carried that on for a long time. I couldn't do it. Then I carried on an eating disorder, and that gave me another excuse why I couldn't do it.
Right.
And finally, I like I said before, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick, because that's what I created, was being sick. I can't do it, so I'll just create another illness to stay in that disease of I can't do it. But I knew that I had that power to overcome that, and I did. And that's when it was like, okay, now I can do everything, and I'm going to do everything, and I'm done with I can't do it.
Awesome.
Because I just don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay there. It's
Well,
not a good place to stay.
It's interesting that you say
No,
that, though,
yeah,
like,
you don't wanna stay there.
because when you come from, like, it's interesting that you say that, because some people, right, they go from what's called the passive expression to the aggressive expression of their belief. So I can't do it, for example, is another version of I'm not enough, right? Like I'm not smart enough or good enough or whatever it is, right?
That's
and
interesting,
so,
yeah.
And so ultimately it comes down to those core 7 beliefs. So as a passive expression of it, your part will actually hold you back so that you really can't do it.
Right.
Which is what you said. Then you just stopped.
Right.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You really couldn't do it.
And then if we don't actually resolve it at the core level, what happens is it could flip into the aggressive mode where it goes, no, I'm going to prove that I can do it. So instead of being in just an I can do it, when you feel like you have to do now everything and prove that you can do everything, it's actually, believe it or not, still being sabotaged by the same part.
Right.
But now you're aggressively, and then nothing ever seems like it's enough. So as soon as you do one thing, you're like, okay, I did
On
this,
to the
but
next,
there's
on
got
to
to
the
be
next,
another
on
thing,
to the
there's another
next,
thing.
right.
And so believe it or not, people still don't have inner peace because they
Right.
think they've overcome it, but the reality is they're still being run by something.
Plus, it's exhausting.
Right.
You know, it becomes exhausting.
But it's better than I can't do it.
Oh
It's
my
better than-
gosh,
yes,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, at least you're
Absolutely.
getting ahead in life.
Fantastic.
That's right.
Absolutely.
But it's that whole factor of is your peace of mind, and
Right,
that's what everybody's
exactly.
looking for. That
Balance.
peace of mind and
Balance,
balance.
peace of mind.
Exactly. Where you can have that, but if we can identify, and it's so easy in this kind of work to be able to identify if the person has taken it on, this belief, as in a passive expression or in an aggressive, and it doesn't matter either way. It works.
And
when
there,
we do this
and there are
therapy.
ways to deal with the flip side of probably each and every one of these
Oh,
beliefs,
absolutely.
right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
once you believe I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, then you start to do things to become lovable, like get into
Right.
bad relationships.
That's
right.
Or I'm not good enough,
Try
then you
too hard.
try too hard and you become an overachiever, like you were
Right.
saying in that aspect
Exactly.
also.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you stop doing that? Like, won't it come out in different parts of your life continuously? And you have to stand back and say, hold on a second, I'm doing it again. There's the awareness. And you have the tools now, I believe I have tools now, obviously, to say, hold on a second, here I go again, I'm burning out, I need to take a bath. You know, I need to just
Good.
relax and chill, and I
Yes.
realize I can't take on the world, because those are my tools.
Yes.
Rather than I can't do it. because that's the old chatter.
So that's good. So those are conscious tools.
Right.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah. So, and in the book, we really identify that there are lots of conscious tools, and there's a lot of things that will make you consciously aware of this, so that now you don't go through life on autopilot, just not even realizing you're doing this all the time, and you'll say, oh my goodness, here I am. I'm really identifying, I'm in this rut, or I'm
Pattern.
doing this pattern, I'm doing it again.